Are you really sure that what you're seeing right now is real? Maybe you think you're awake, in control, but the truth is, your brain is making things up. Every image you see, sound you hear, sensation you touch, it could all just be a temporary construct that your brain creates for you to believe is real. Have you ever thought you put your keys on the kitchen table, turned around, and they were gone? Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly felt like someone was watching you, even though you're home alone? You're not losing your mind. It's your brain reconstructing a reality, not as it is, but as it thinks you should see it. It's not just an optical illusion, it's a trick of the mind. And in the next few minutes, you'll begin to see that your whole life, you may never have really seen the world as it is. We always believe that I see with my eyes, hear with my ears, and feel with my skin. But neuroscience shows you don't experience the world with your senses, but by how your brain interprets the signals that come from those senses. The brain doesn't transmit reality. It reconstructs a plausible model from vague, incomplete data. This is a mechanism called top-down processing, meaning what you believe, expect, or have experienced in the past will directly affect what you see, hear, and feel in the present. Simply put, you don't see the world as it is, you see it as your brain thinks it should be. To illustrate this, remember the global debate over the dress photo. Blue-black or gold-white? One single photo, two completely opposite perceptions. The problem wasn't the dress, but how the brain decodes light. People who thought the photo was taken in shadow saw blue-black. People who thought the photo was taken under white light saw gold-white. The brain automatically adjusts colors based on assumptions about light, a prime example of top-down processing. Memory and personal experience shape perception. The photo doesn't change, but the reality you see changes, depending on how your brain chooses to interpret it. It's not just your eyes. Your ears are also easily fooled. Remember the Yanny or Laurel challenge that once had the entire US debating? A single recording, some heard Yanny, others swore they heard Laurel. The reason lies in this. Each person has different high and low sound processing thresholds, and the brain prioritizes the type of information it is familiar with or expects. But what's even more shocking is, sometimes, the brain can create sound itself if it believes there should be sound. Have you ever heard someone call your name even when you're in a completely quiet place? Or been working and suddenly thought you heard a message notification? That's when your brain fills in the blanks of silence and creates a very real sensation from something that doesn't exist. One of the most common modern illusions is the feeling of a phantom phone vibration. You distinctly feel your phone vibrating in your pocket, but when you check, there's nothing. Studies show that over 90% of smartphone users have experienced this phenomenon at least once. It's called phantom vibration syndrome, a tactile hallucination. When you become too accustomed to your phone vibrating, your brain forms a sensory expectation, and just a vague signal, like a slight muscle twitch in your leg, the fabric of your pants tightening, or even the thought that someone must have texted me, is enough to activate the brain region responsible for the sensation of vibration, a feeling that isn't real, but still makes you believe it is. Why does the brain make up sensations, images, or sounds that don't exist? It's not because it's wrong, it's because it needs to be fast. Your brain isn't designed to always be right, but to always react in time to danger. In prehistoric times, if you heard a sound in the bushes, guessing it's a predator and running away immediately could save your life, even if it later turned out to be just the wind. Neuroscientists call this a predictive survival mechanism. When data is lacking, the brain fills in the gaps with the safest scenario. And the result is, you see a shadow in the mirror when you're alone, or hear someone calling in the wind, not because you're delusional, but because your brain is doing its job, keeping you alive. Today, instead of predators, the danger comes from phone notifications, an unanswered email, or the look in someone's eyes. And the brain is still filling in the blanks with small illusions. It's just that you don't realize it. Once you understand this, you'll start to see we don't live in an absolute reality, but in a seemingly coherent version that the brain constructs. The world you perceive is built from noisy sensory signals, plus memories, emotions, and personal biases. And so, each person is living in a private build. This affects how you make decisions every day. You trust someone because of a gut feeling. You avoid a road because you feel uneasy, even though you don't know why. Most likely, your brain is using past experiences to evoke a model of reality. That is no longer relevant to the present, and you don't see the world as it is, you see the world as you are used to seeing it. That's why you know right away that something is wrong with someone, even if they haven't said a word. These discoveries aren't just confined to the lab. They're impacting every area of life. Visual artists use illusions to create 3D paintings that make you see objects popping out of the surface. Architects use bright colors and mirrors to make small spaces appear larger. Marketers know exactly what sound makes potato chips seem crispier and use it to convince you that the snacks in the ads are tastier than real. It's the art of manipulating the senses, and proof that what you perceive doesn't always come from the world, but from how your brain constructs it. So, what should you do when you realize your brain constantly constructs illusions? The answer isn't doubt everything. It's learn to pause and check. When you feel anxious, angry, or certain about something, ask, am I reacting to reality or to the story my brain is creating? Just having a moment of doubt about your own feelings is enough to start regaining control of your perception. Science doesn't ask you to live coldly, it just reminds you that you're not being fooled. If you know you're at risk of being fooled. And sometimes, the most lucid moment in a person's life doesn't come from knowing the truth, but from daring to question the reality your brain creates. Because in a world full of illusions, the most radical thing you can do is stop and question what you believe to be real.
If you found value in what I've shared, please consider subscribing so we can keep going on this journey together. Thank you for staying with me until the end of the video.